you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest Things in the Mix official. Welcome to 16 years, 24 episodes of the Chris Voss Show. As always, we're always having fun over here and doing our things. But help us share the show with your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today we have an amazing young lady on the show with us today. We're going to be talking to her. Kiara Loucks joins us on the show. She's a corporate athlete. Kiara, did I get your name right?
You absolutely did, and it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, easy enough. You can actually find me at kiara.loucks on Instagram or kiaraloucks.com.
So give us a 30,000 overview of what you guys do there at Her Outdoor Journey.
Yeah, so I've actually just recently partnered up with Her Outdoor Journey. I'm believing that there's a link that'll go out as well in the episode link. However, I really started a ways back as an athlete, always have been at an extremely high level. So I've competed all over the world, including on the US and Canadian bobsled teams. I'm also very high up in the world of ad tech. So if you think of any advertisement you've ever received on your phone or TV, whether that's in a social media environment or elsewhere, I do all of the data modeling on the back end of that for major corporations and holding companies around the world while competing at a high level. So like I mentioned, have been on Olympic teams, have competitively competed in national showings for bodybuilding, Olympic weightlifting, you name it, have kind of been all over. Wow. The theme throughout it all is, for some reason, I think God put me here to learn how to suffer and how to suffer with grace and to share that insight with other people. So my story has really been ridden with unfortunate events I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy that have really forced me to kind of refine my reaction, my preparedness for those things, both mentally and physically. And that's really translated well to a transition here, actually in the backwoods of Montana right now. Yeah, and I'm very thankful that we have Wi-Fi. I didn't know for sure if that would happen with the group that you just mentioned, which is Her Outdoor Journey. And they actually specialize in taking care of our women population, really showing them how to have agency over their own survival, whether that's in an urban setting or here in the backwoods. So everything from hunting, gathering, foraging for food, setting up shelter, understanding safety and the function of firearms, you name it. This group is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really happy to be here and actually promoting them, as I've recently partnered up with them to help from a strategic direction. So is that helpful? That is
definitely helpful. You got it all nailed down there. Yeah. Gotta love it. So, this organization basically helps women. You guys go out and teach them on retreats and events that you hold, where they can go, they can learn some of the different aspects of adventure, horse trips, wellness trips, summits, guided hunting and fishing trips, archery camps, and meet and greets. So
it's all headed up by Courtney, and she's a world-renowned outdoors woman, a phenomenal hunter, and she's sitting down on the lawn now teaching some ladies how to build shelter with little space blankets. So just a phenomenal group of women.
What a great picture you guys have here on the front cover of the events. You've got all you guys in two boats, and then there's a grizzly bear behind you guys.
Their adventures are absolutely gnarly, and I can only speak to a few of them because my time with them has been short to date. But yeah, they're all over from Alaska to Montana to tropical environments, you name it, and Colorado. They're all over. So
yeah, being close to these beautiful animals, these grizzly bears or bears, I'm not sure what type of bear it is, but I mean, did you get paid to be in that pic? So that's awesome.
You wouldn't even have to pay me to be in a picture like that. Or
yeah, with that grizzly bear there. Oh man, he's just sitting there going, "Why are these two boats of women hanging out here?" And
so fun enough, we actually are. It's just the opening of elk season up here in Montana. We're trying to get one before tomorrow because we're taking the ladies through a butchery class. So if you somehow get an animal out in the wild, how do you dress it? How do you eat it? How do you prepare it? And how do you cut that carcass up in a way that's usable to you and your family if you should need it?
Yeah, I had my elk steak medium well, or medium. No, not medium well. Jesus, what am I?
I was say,
savage?
Rare somewhere.
Medium rare.
Now.
Medium rare. I don't know. You might eat elk maybe more rare than medium rare. I don't know.
Very similar to a beefsteak. Very similar.
I've had ranch elk that was raised on ranches in Australia, I think. I have it in Wyoming at Jackson Hole. Really good.
That sounds terrible.
Oh. It's really hard to live there in that environment of beautiful food and kind of cool people. But no, that's awesome. Do you find? I mean, what are a lot of the women that are drawn to this sort of thing? Some women are like, "Ooh, fishing," and if you put a fish up on your Tinder profile, it guarantees your loneliness as a man for eternity.
That's very true.
From what I understand.
I do think it might be different for women, though.
Yeah. Well, I live in Utah, and I've been on Tinder, and there's actually some women that will put up their fishing shots, and I'm like, wait, this is a double standard. No, I'm just
exactly. Kidding. Yeah, no, it's super interesting actually, and I think that there is a misnomer around the persona who engages with events like this, and there's a stigma, especially with women, maybe more intimidation than there is stigma about that avatar, about who would be, down in the grass building a shelter right now. Yeah. But I think what we've seen is a really cool evolution, maybe even in the last 5 years since COVID, whereas I think there was a lot of complacency before to be comfortable with, maybe it's a spouse who's a caregiver or someone that you rely on to provide for you, whether it's safety, shelter, food, or anything else. However, in the last 5 years, I think we've come to realize a lot is unpredictable, whether it's natural disasters or pandemics or anything in between. And so now we're starting to see more of a magnetism across the board of demographics within that female population who are attracted to events like this. So I can tell you on an event like this, where you would maybe read the description and see that there's shooting or, talk about hunting and fishing, and you've never done it, you didn't grow up around it, it's very uncomfortable for you, and you think it wouldn't be something for you, even though it says beginner. Mm-hmm. There are women here who have hiked or just enjoy being outside, and they want to learn just in case. What if you do stray from the path and you can't find your way back? So what does that look like from a survival standpoint? How do you provide for yourself? How do you take care of yourself? And then even from the firearm standpoint. So I think there is, again, a ton of stigma in our culture right now here in the U.S. around firearms. And that's okay. This is not commentary on either side of the political spectrum. However, knowing that you have a tool at your disposal, and it is a tool to be used, whether it's in the backcountry and there's an animal that you cannot defend yourself with these guys, what are you going to do? Or it's in an urban setting, and as a last resort, that is a tool that you need to rely on to protect you or your kids. It's much better to go into those circumstances knowing and understanding how to operate those tools that we have, than to say there's a staggering statistic among men and women who get concealed carry licenses and then never get training to understand how to use them. Yeah. So now you have people carrying them concealed on their person, not knowing how to safely operate one or the steps to avoid ever needing to use one, yet they're out there in society carrying them. So all that to say, there is the whole spectrum. We have women down there who shot a gun for the first time in their lives after about 12 hours of education this week. We have women who are professional backwoods hunters. So it's anything in the gambit. If you have interest in this vertical, if you enjoy being outside, I strongly encourage you to look at any of the programs we have, and not all include firearms. So there are some that focus a little bit more on survival, or we have mother-daughter retreats retreats on the coast where you can go horseback riding with your mom. I mean, it's just really getting people out back into nature to primally connect with one another at the end of the day. And it is also talking about the functional use of things like hunting and fishing to break down some of those stigmas and really understand from a conservation standpoint, from several different areas and lenses, how it serves a purpose still in our society. So does that answer your question?
Boy, that sure does. Very thoroughly. You know, you have archery too, so people can learn that. I know. Too. I've seen a lot of.
Never picked up a bow. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of women that are great archers. In fact, I was seeing the one. She goes to like games and stuff, the NFL and stuff, and she's like almost a ballet sort of gymnast sort of gal, and she can shoot the bow and arrow curving back with her feet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like really talented.
I don't think any of us are quite on that level, so don't be intimidated if you're not.
Yeah. I'm just like, okay, well, I don't think I'm ever doing that move because my spine will go out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, so how often do you guys hold these retreats?
Yeah, so we actually only have a couple left for the fiscal year of 2025. Before we start getting into planning around October for what's going to come down the pipe next year. I can tell you that we have seen increased interest in a lot of these events. This is one of our longer events, so it is a little bit more difficult for, say, the moms and ladies who have really demanding jobs. This is like 6 days. We do also have ones that are, say, 2-3 days, a little bit shorter, but really content packed. I can't remember what your question was.
How do you guys do? Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, maybe once a month, every other month, somewhere in that time frame, usually only a couple weeks between events.
And then you guys have a podcast as well. So you guys talk about some of the things you're doing on the podcast there?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely more in our founder's vein. Her name is Courtney Preet, and she's just a phenomenal outdoors woman. But she'll talk to everything from actual tactical strategies, whether it's for survival or otherwise. She'll interview incredibly powerful women in the community who may specialize in a niche. So whether that is anglers of the world or the fisherwoman, or you have the survivalists who can really help with all of your go bag items and setup, or it's things in different journeys that Courtney herself has been on. She's traveled all over the world, primarily hunts in the backwoods of Alaska, actually, but she's made it down even to the furthest parts of New Zealand for different hunts and understands all of the different nuances to those environments. So it's an incredibly fascinating story, whether you're male or female, very practical applications.
Wow, but you can get involved with all the different variants and stuff like that. And, you know, learning new skills is kind of fun. It's kind of fun to know that you can learn skills that, like, if you had to survive, you could.
Absolutely. And they're not difficult. I think it's funny to watch women light up. For example, we are learning how to build a fire. And so I think probably majority of your audience has never actually built a fire. It's usually a flip switch or someone, else, has the cool party trick. They can light the fire. But if your life depends on it, are you able to light a fire? And it's truly not that difficult. But it is super fun showing ladies how to use things like a ferro rod, which you can generate a spark with in the middle of nowhere with nothing but a knife. And now you have your fire and you understand how to kind of piece it all together. But it sounds complex in certain areas. Some of them are incredibly nuanced. Yeah. By and large, surviving, safety protocols, things are very much like something you could teach to a small kid. So a lot of these women are moms. So gun safety, we talk about through the application of Nerf guns. If you're handing your child a Nerf gun, you should have them operate it like it is going to hurt someone. So they're not going to point it at people or anything that they don't mean to destroy or kill. Understanding safety around those items as a parent. So it is actually really easy to digest, especially because you get to put your hands on it and do it right there on the spot. So it's very cool.
That's really neat. It's 2025, people, and AI is coming. So we all got to be ready for the Terminator.
Floods left and right, and
floods left and right, lions and tigers and bears.
Exactly, and you cannot count on EMS or first responders to be there when something like that happens.
Especially if you're in the backwoods, and then you got the Terminator bots, the AI Terminator bots bearing down on you. You got to
100%
keep running.
Exactly.
It's kind of where we're at in 2025. You never know. Inflation's coming with 2025, so I've been happy that I learned how to do intermittent fasting. So having these skills really helps, that way I can avoid the bread lines.
Yeah.
So I just need some protein drinks to keep me going. But no, learning to start a fire, staying warm, surviving, shelter, there's all sorts of these tornadoes and hurricanes and all sorts of things that come in and they can really tear up a whole town overnight. And there's no shelter. Your car is gone. You might have to figure out how to survive a day or two until FEMA shows up or, and some of these things are really important. Dress a wound. Maybe do you guys get into some of that stuff?
Yes.
You learn the Boy Scout how to dress wounds and
so we're
and all that?
While we have dinner here in a bit, we will be talking about what are the critical items you should have in your medical kit. Should someone get injured or have an allergic reaction to something? We also take the ladies. We yesterday went out with a phenomenal woman named Jess Caldwell. She has her own business as well. Survivalist, has been on several shows. Just outside of that, loves the outdoors and has a great appreciation and knowledge for it. So she took us on about 2-hour walk just here in the mountains, not planned. And you take a couple steps, then you identify what that plant is, what you can use it for. Is it edible? Is it not edible? How do you harvest it? And if it is medicinal, how can you apply it to a wound, like an abrasion? Also, how do you test if you're allergic to it before you take a big chomp out of it? So definitely super practical.
You lean in and you roll around for a bit and hope it's not poison ivy.
Yes, exactly. Yep, 100%. That was what we learned yesterday, the hard way.
Got that poison ivy the hard way before. Usually it was snipe hunting in our Boy Scouts thing. Someone would always end up in the poison ivy. Yeah. Yep, do you guys ever do the snipe hunting?
I don't personally. I think some of the other ladies who are here do. They're all getting ready for the fall hunting season. A lot of them anyway.
So you know what snipe hunting is. What you do, we used to play this game in Boy Scouts. You wait till night when everything's dark.
Okay.
And then you find the new members of the troop that you need to haze. Okay. And you take them snipe hunting. You tell them you're going to go hunting for snipes. And they're just out in the bushes. And so what you do is you got to go walk around in the dark and just yell, snipe, 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 here, snipe. And then as the noobs go out and do that, you all do that with them, but then you all sneak back into the camp and laugh at the campfire. And so then you just hear them wandering around the hillsides, getting lost and wandering through the poison ivy, yelling, snipe.
That's terrible. No, I will say, as funny as that is, and I do have an appreciation for it, we are incredibly gentle here. So there is a ton of respect because a lot of these ladies are coming out being vulnerable, owning that they've never done any of this. So if you even so much as, make a snide comment or sarcastic remark, you never know it's going to land with someone, and we don't want to ease off. So
gotta be careful.
Like the third trip, and then we start using people. Yeah.
Well, if anybody goes full Karen on the trip, and I'm sure they don't, just do the snipe hunt with them.
Yeah. No, we'll keep that in the pocket. There are some that come out and
mind your P's and Q's, folks, when you're at the event. Exactly. I don't know. We used to have so much fun with that. It was always the new guy. We're going to do a snipe hunting. What's a snipe? You'll find out.
Man, you guys had way more fun in Boy Scouts than we had in Girl Scouts.
Yeah, boys.
You got better snacks.
We're kind of you guys have better snacks probably, and I don't know. If I ever had a wife or girlfriend who knew how to carve something up like a bear or an elk or something like that, I'd probably mind my P's and Q's around her. So
exactly, you gotta watch out.
She knows how to cut me up into pieces and bag me. So
I think the other cool piece that we see that's a little bit more anecdotal is that women walk out of these camps and these retreats with their shoulders a little bit broader, their chin a little bit higher, their chest out. I think there's a ton of confidence that you can take care of yourself if you had to, and learn something new, proving to yourself that you're able to learn something new that's really out of your comfort zone, especially. You have a nice little dose of confidence on your way out the door and probably want a little bit more. So it's a cool opportunity, I think, that there are very few of anymore.
Now, knowing, having these tools and skills, I mean, this is one of the things we learn when we fail or things happen to us and recover from them is we get those tools. And then the next time, stuff happens to us, we have more resilience and we're more, like, hey, I can survive this. I survived it before. Come at me, bro.
A lot worse the last time.
Come at me, life.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. I mean, that's what you have to do is look back at your track record and be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm still here. I made it through the last thing. We're going to make it through this thing, even if it's not fun.
Yeah. And this way you're good with a knife. So,
and that's the plus side. Yep. You'd always like to be better off knowing how to use a knife.
That's true. That's true. You guys do wellness retreats too, as well, where people can go there and do a deep relaxation and self-care, meditation, breath work, things of that nature. Women tend to really enjoy those things.
Yeah. And I think honestly, everyone does if they're willing to admit it. But you have events that are not focused on any of the tactical applications. It's much more of a mindfulness concept, more holistic wellness. So there is one actually coming up on the 20th of August in Colorado, the beautiful Rocky Mountains. It's actually an equine retreat. So you're going to go up in the mountains if you were to go on the trip, hang out with some beautiful mountain horses, do some horseback riding. We got yoga, we have journaling, guided meditation, you name it. Really just getting women to connect both with themselves and with nature. So opportunities really for everyone. We just want to get people outside, talking to each other and putting this thing down.
Damn. There's some gals on here that are holding some giant, they look like they might be trout or rainbow trout.
Oh, they are. These are some impressive women. Let me tell you.
These are huge. And I don't know if this is sea fishing or if this is lake fishing in a really big lake. I can't see the shore. But yeah, really cool stuff. You guys are hunting, archering, learning all this thing. What's the big vision for this? I imagine to expand and hold more events and get more women out, I guess.
Yeah. So actually, in comes the conversation of how I kind of ended up here and how I'm really representing them. I make no money from them to date as of this very date, but my career has really been a blessing in that I've picked up skills to help other businesses grow, scale, impact more people with missions like this that are extremely powerful. So what the vision is, I would probably have to corner Courtney. I don't want to speak on her behalf. However, generally speaking, this is getting as many women out into nature as possible to understand what it provides for us, how to sustain ourselves in it, how to survive in it, how to connect with other women again. So one of the coolest things, we have 10 ladies down there who had never met, and you watch these connections form because we truly on this trip have zero service. So we are setting up fires and you get to know people extremely well when you're around these environments where you're learning new things around a campfire, you're eating breakfast together. It's very much a camp-like environment on this one specifically, but we want to connect these women who maybe are just getting into it with the women who have been in it and develop those relationships and make the semblance of a community who can enjoy the outdoors together, educate one another, and kind of dive down this rabbit hole together. So it's really getting this to as many women as possible. It's opening up more events. It's opening up more geographies, more of the activities that women want to know or learn that we get feedback from. So butchery, I do believe this is their first butchery course. So like I said, they literally downed an elk. They're going to actually bring it back up here. And then tomorrow we're going to sit down with the ladies and kind of talk through what are the different cuts, how to field dress. What do you do if you actually get an elk to prevent a bear, another animal, a predator from eating it? So how do you sling that thing up in a tree if it's a, 1,000+ pound animal and all you have is a big bag and some rope, but you got to get it off the ground and you got to keep it away from the tree so that those animals don't climb up the tree and then eat it. That's a new one based off of feedback. So it's just really expanding the program offerings and accessibility.
I noticed that the mother-daughter is sold out. That's probably really popular.
We have actually a lot of them sell out. And to note, these are not massive groups of 20, 30, 40 women. This is an extremely intimate environment. So it does sell out, whether it's a solo trip like this, people come with their friends though too, or a mother-daughter where you're taking up two spots for the reservation. So it's really pretty intimate, and that's so that the teacher to student ratio is as lean as possible and the content absorption is as high as possible.
Do people have a hard time living without their phones? We actually had the internet go down here at the house. I think it was yesterday or the day before for like 3 hours. They had, I don't know, somebody hit a pole or some crap. And so we were down for like 3 hours. Yeah. And boy, I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was having a hard time.
You gotta get creative. I'll tell you that. You can play pickup sticks.
But at least I got my cell phone with AT&T, so I can at least use my phone. But if you're out there, like you said, with no service,
there's
it's going to help you.
Nothing but this very room in this very spot that the Wi-Fi happens to work in this one cabin. So
really, wow.
It's an adjustment. I think kind of like when you go on vacation, even if you do have your phone, it might take you a day or two just to turn your brain kind of off to enjoy the vacation that you paid a ton of money for and that you wanted to run away to. Very similar concept. And for people who haven't ever actually gotten away from their phone for any extended period of time, it takes a second. It's uncomfortable. You feel like you might be missing out on something extremely important. And that does not include major news, like breaking news, because 9 times out of 10, it does not affect you. So it's understanding that life goes on. It's okay if that thing is off. Excuse me. But once you kind of turn that off and you turn a different part of your brain on, which is that part that connects with other people, it is so much fun getting to learn all of the backstories behind the women that come out here, why they're here, what their favorite part was that stood out to them. We have so many deer here. It's outrageous. So we've been playing with the deer and practicing our new skills. And last night before, we had a fire downstairs. This is actually a functional cabin, and they have a restaurant on the first floor. We're miles out of town. We're up in the mountains, but it is a place people sometimes frequent for dinner. We had a random visitor who was actually the son of Evel Knievel. It was Evel Knievel's son. Sat by the fire. Entertainment is in no short supply if you can just put this thing down and learn to see where the opportunities are for that entertainment and connection.
And what we found with environments like this, we used to do little get-togethers at different events with our friends that were in technology at CES and South by Southwest. We go up to
CES every year.
Yeah, we go up to old Gary Shapiro, who runs it, is on our show. We're good friends. I think he's been on the show
out in Las Vegas.
Times. Huh?
Yeah. Out in Las Vegas is not
out in Las Vegas. Yeah. And we used to hold one up in Jackson Hole in Idaho, Sun Valley.
Yeah.
Up at the hotel where the billionaires hang out at the Allen meeting. And so we would hold these small groups, usually about 8 to 10 people, and we call them serendipity groups. And we'd always invite an artist. But these little groups, everyone put their phone away, and these little groups would get together. And the serendipity of just making new friends for sometimes a lifetime, interacting, being human, there was just magic that comes from that scenario. Getting rid of the phones, getting rid of the notifications and crap, and learning about other people. Sometimes people get up and share stories and do stuff. And I'm sure there's probably some of that goes on with some of the interactions you have. One of the problems I have is we have huge dating groups, and we hold these meetups for dating. And when people come to the meetups, a lot of times they just sit and look at their phone, both men and women. And you're just like, hey, put the phone down. You guys need to mingle. You see, and a lot of people are afraid to come out. They're afraid to socialize with other people. I think COVID had a real big case of that. So events like
already struggling as a society pre-COVID to actually genuinely find connection with other people because of the phone, because of social media, very quick reactionary engagements with people where we don't know how to initiate a conversation. We don't know how to ask questions. But as soon as we do, I think 2 things happen, and tell me if you've seen something different with your serendipity groups. But I think you realize, first off, you have so much in common with nearly everyone. Like it takes a lot of work to find someone you don't have at least one thing in common with. And those conversations are so powerful because you realize maybe you've had similar circumstances in life, but you've processed them differently, and you've picked up now something from someone else that can help you in those situations. The second is the 7 degrees of separation. So you find opportunities where you may know mutual people and you just had never connected one-on-one yourselves, but you realize how small the world is and how important that connection is with those other people.
Yeah. It really does make a difference. And, we talk about this all the time in our dating groups. People, you need to build these skills, because if you can't interact with people on an intimate basis, I'm not talking sexually, just have a conversation about another human being and connecting and, giving them a hug, and you're sharing experiences together, and you're overcoming challenges, out there in the woods. That builds character. And it gives you muscles, and this whole phone thing, I just hate it. It's everywhere you go, just people.
It is why you can make a great career in sales, though, at this day and age, because no one can talk to someone, let alone sell them on something. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you even try calling dates to set up a date, and they're just like, well, I'm afraid to get on the phone, and you're like, how are you going to function in a relationship?
Yeah.
Are you just going to text
Whether
each
it's
other?
a friend or a potential spouse, you can't function. And I think we see all these really fragmented relationships because of that.
Yeah, and so I think going out and doing these things, getting rid of that darn phone for a while, so many people are addicted to the dopamine hit, the FOMO of, oh, what's that ping? And so, and then getting these life skills, because, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, right now it's 2025 and Putin and Trump are visiting Alaska. And they're, everyone's threatened nuclear war and nuclear this, that.
I had no idea. You just told me, and how much our lives probably are different because of it, probably very minimally. So.
In fact, if nuclear drops happen, you probably got the best position right now to be away from ground zero, hopefully. Yeah. So, anything more you want to discuss or tease out about what you guys do there and how you do it?
Yeah, I think whether you find a program like Her Outdoor Journey, or you find another program, or it's a simple routine that you implement in your daily habits. I think it's so important, whether you're male or female, this goes for everybody, to expose yourself to situations where you have to creatively problem solve. You have to kind of put yourself in a place of agency so you're comfortable flexing that muscle. And so I really encourage people, even prior to my joining up with this group, to really find those opportunities, whether it's a daily routine in the morning where you're able to physically move yourself, you're nourishing your body with good foods, you're getting outside and getting sunlight. I think some people may take that to the extreme now because we hear all these people with 10-hour routines in the morning. That's not necessary, but I think just having these baselines that you can come back to, whether it's a skill set or a routine, because life is extremely hard for everyone. So I have tons of experience both in my family nucleus and otherwise with mental health. And I think the conversation around having the resources before someone is at risk of potentially harming or hurting themselves because life is so hard. It's a critical conversation that a lot of us are missing out on because it's uncomfortable. But something is maybe silly to you as coming out to the outdoors and learning some skills can really help put you in a position to take agency in other areas of your life. So things like your workouts that you haven't been doing, but you don't feel well. So maybe we start moving just intentionally every day, and it's not killing yourself at the gym. It's just moving your body because you have one of those. And so taking care of it is so incredibly important from a proactive standpoint, from, a health angle, and from a preparedness standpoint. So I just really encourage people to seek out those kind of controlled burns, if you will, things that are difficult and push you outside of your day-to-day to continue evolving as a human and to just kind of refine your skill set all the way around, mentally, physically, and emotionally, to be as prepared for the day-to-day as much as your abnormal major life-changing events.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you come across a bear on the trail and you survived, a lot of Monday morning Zoom meetings look easy.
Exactly. And you can create those controlled burns without any bear in the mix. Ideally, we never cross paths with one of those, especially the one on the site, which is a nice little grizzly. Ideally, you never cross those situations, but whether it's a death in the family, a divorce, or a bear on the trail, they all suck, and they suck less when you're prepared and you're able to take care of yourself and build those skill sets that you can fall back onto when those things do happen in life.
Yeah, I have bear spray. I'm sitting right here on the desk just in case any podcast gets out of hand, or if you never know when bears are going to come over. Exactly. It's like Goldilocks. They're always breaking in your house or something. I don't know what that means.
Trying your bed out.
So give us the .coms as we go out. Where can people find out more about you on the interwebs?
Yeah, so most importantly, I'd really like to promote heroutdoorjourney.com. You can look at all the upcoming events. You can sign up, see frequently asked questions. And then my personal is kiaraloucks.com or kiara.loucks on Instagram. So
thank you, Kiara. We certainly appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thanks, Sharon, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss won the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. Put those damn phones down. And but don't, not if you're listening to the podcast, though. That's
finish the podcast first.
Yeah. Finish the podcast first. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.